See,
live.
you're way ahead of me on this technical stuff. I didn't even know you can go live on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and we just went live now on TikTok. The only one that I can't go live on is Instagram, just because it doesn't allow to do like any type of screen share and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But they're working on it, from what I understand.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're now live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and then let me get open up Zoom, and then we will kick off. I'm gonna do a quick screen share. Join with computer audio.
Recording in progress.
Got it. Share screen. Just bear with me. And we are going to share this screen. Share. All right, so it looks like Zoom is now sharing, and then let me go live onto our. Thanks for being patient, everybody. I am making sure that we stream all this content. Today is really special for me because not only do I have someone who is an expert in private money lending, but he's also an investor, and he has even funded projects for me. So I've worked directly with him. I have direct knowledge of how he works and his professionalism and how on point he is about private money lending. So today we're going to be talking about, private money lending. Some people, it's basically, other people want to call it other people's money. There's a lot of different ways to look at it, but it's essentially finding someone to help invest in your deal for you if you don't have the funds to get it going. So just bear with me. How to use private money lending on your deals. So let me put it on our group, and then we are done. We will be on all platforms. That's interesting. Share the group. Go live. Okay. All right. So for whatever reason, it didn't go live on my my Facebook group, but it did. It did go live on my on our Dispo page. So, all right. So let's do this, Brian. I sent you some questions. Here's what I like to do personally when we start these interviews and these podcasts. I like to ask questions of our guests just so that we get a better feel of who they are and what it is that they do and how they got started. So here's how I'd like to start it out with. Number one, all of the if you're on Facebook or if you're on Twitter or TikTok, wherever you're at right now, just give me a thumbs up so that I know that you can hear me okay. I just want to make sure that that the sound is coming through okay. And if you're on Zoom, same thing. I'm checking the screen just to see what screen is actually sharing. It should be only sharing one screen. Okay, thank you, Kuyen. I appreciate you doing that for me. Let me make sure sharing what it is that I wanted to share. Okay, perfect. All right. So if I'm coming through okay, give me a thumbs up. Again, this is a really interesting topic for us. This is a very interesting topic for people who are trying to invest and you're looking at deals and you're saying to yourself, I don't have any money of my own right now to actually start investing. So I invited Brian to come on here with us. He is a private money lender. He's one of the best private money lenders that I know of. And before we kick it off, I'm just going to ask a few questions that I sent to him, just so you can get a better feel for who he is. Brian, what are 1 to 3 books that you right now are currently reading or that you have given out as gifts that have influenced you or influenced your life?
Awesome. All right. So book that I give out as a gift all the time to new people actually coming onto my team and just other people that are struggling in business. It's a pretty basic book, but it's actually a book called Eat That Frog. You're familiar with it, it sounds like. I can't hear you, Paul, if I lost you lost your audio.
Oh, sorry about that.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it, but I'm going to pick it up now.
Okay, Eat That Frog. It's real simple read. It's 50, 60 pages, something like that. I forget who the author is, but it's a book on procrastination. It's sitting down basically and looking over your tasks and figuring out what's most important and tackling it. Don't worry about everything at the same time. Tackle your biggest project. Go to the next one. So like I said, it's a real simple read, but I love it. I sit down and read it probably every 6 months or so because we get distracted. and we need to sit back and get focused. We get overwhelmed sometimes and sit back. But yeah, eat that frog. Another one is The Energy Bus. John Gordon. A lot of people have read that book about positive energy. It's real easy to get caught up in everybody's negativity, especially in your market in Southern California. We work in Southern California. There's a lot of negativity. People with, it's saturated. There's too much competition. It's priced too high. It's too competitive. There's a ton of negativity. So that's a great book that I like to read as well. The Energy Bus by John Gordon. It's just cutting out the negativity and everything, changing your mindset to everything you get to do as opposed to everything you have to do. And I lost you there again, Paul, if you're there. You there, Paul?
I'm sorry, my camera went black for a little bit.
There you
I
are.
apologize, man. That's my fault. Okay. What purchase of $100 or less has most positively impacted your life over the last 6 months? It can be an app, it can be a tool, it can be a seminar, whatever. Just $100 or less that you can give to someone that has impacted you or your business.
That's actually Wealth Without Cash by Pace Morby. Wealth Without Cash. I think it's really relevant to what we're talking about here today too. I think that book costs about like $24.99 on Amazon.
Right.
If you guys haven't picked it up already, pick it up. Pace Morby and Jamil Damji are two of my mentors that, again, come back to what we're talking about. You can get into real estate now with literally zero money out of pocket. We might get into it a little bit later, but I just closed on a deal this past week. I even borrow money from other people. Why use my money when I can buy a deal with somebody else's money? So I just bought an Airbnb on the beach in Daytona, Florida this week, literally with zero money out of pocket. We'll get into that a little bit more later.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I want to hear about that. How you found it. So for the people who are completely brand new, what I'm hoping that you're going to be able to do is walk us through that deal from like cradle to grave, from the beginning until the end. All right.
Absolutely.
So we'll go into that in a little bit. All right. Next question. How has a failure or apparent failure prepared you for your success? So what was a setback that took place in your business, either at the beginning or even recently, that you've learned from that, like you feel comfortable sharing with our listeners that would impact their business?
Absolutely. I have a very colorful past, and I'm pretty blunt and straightforward about it. Apparent failure. I call it apparent failure, absolutely, because the only failure is something that you don't learn from. So parent failure, I was going down the wrong path and ended up in prison, bottom line. And then that's actually where I discovered real estate. I was taught wholesale real estate in prison, and I got out and implemented. So, I mean, you can look at that. A ton of people would look at that as a huge failure in life. But again, I went in there, I changed my mindset. I decided that wasn't the life I was going to live, and learned about real estate. I got out and I implemented, bottom line.
That's awesome. And I appreciate you sharing that with me. So, and that brings up a point, and I hope you don't mind me diving a little bit deeper. But like, for the people that are looking at this who might have paths that are similar to yours, or for people that might say, well, hey, Brian, you're lending money and you're dealing with people who are on a whole nother level of business. How do you feel comfortable doing that, looking the way you might look? Like, I know that's got to come up sometimes.
Absolutely,
right?
100%.
So
It was a big insecurity in my business in the beginning. Just over the past probably 18 months or so, I would say I've really started to take this and embrace it. Jamil, he's been coaching me on that for, like I said, about the past year and a half now, and I've learned to embrace it. And bottom line, I've learned to accept that, you know what, because of the way I look, some people are not going to want to have nothing to do with me in business, and that's okay. It's just like talking to a realtor on a deal that you're trying to get under contract as wholesale. You know what, if they don't want to do business with you, you push a little bit, but they don't. Okay, thanks, have a good one, and you move on. That's it. There's plenty of fish in the sea. So like I said, I mean, there's plenty of people that say absolutely not. I would never do business with this guy. He can't be professional. He can't know anything. And that's okay. I shake their hand and say, hey, have a nice day. Best of luck to you. Because guess what? There's plenty of people that do want to do business with me. I mean, and again, you can attest to that. Tell what was your first impression, you know what I mean, dealing with me as a lender.
Okay, so number one, Brian has always, I call him or pick up the phone. Yes, sir. Hey, sir. How you doing, sir? And I was like, man, this guy really treats people with a whole nother level of respect. This is before I even saw a picture of you or even knew who you were. Okay. And I was just like, my gosh, the way he treats you, do such an excellent job of elevating people and making them feel important, right? And that was the very first thing that I noticed. And then when we got together on Facebook, I was like, these are the two. This is the same person that I've been dealing with. You know what I mean? And so that really impressed me. And aside from your level of or how quick you were to respond to things and to text, in fact, look, truth be told, there were times where you were more responsive than even I was responsive to your text messages. You were more on point than I was during our transaction. So, like, kudos to you, and the fact that you're sharing this with people, because there's people out there that look like you, that sound like you, and they're thinking, I could never do this, man.
It's a limiting belief.
I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of what you're doing.
Limiting belief, absolutely, and you know what? It's all in your head, 100%.
Let's see. Oh, billboard. Okay, cool. So if you had a massive billboard that was seen by millions of people, what would the billboard say? What would it say on it?
This is a fun one for me. And bottom line, I'm pretty blunt and straightforward, guys. So my billboard would say no effing excuses. Bottom line, people are soft today and they want to make excuses and use everybody else as an excuse. Everything. There's always a reason why you can't do it. And again, I think it comes back to, like I was saying, that energy buzz. You got to change your mindset to, I get to do this. I get to wake up today. I get to make these 200 calls. I get to return these 200 text messages. I get to comp these 25 properties today. It's mindset. Stop with the excuses. So absolutely no effing excuses.
All right, cool. That's awesome. All right, so just joining in, if you're just logging in real quick, please give me a quick thumbs up. Let me know that you're hearing the sound okay. If you're seeing some valuable content here, just give us a hashtag PML for private money lending, because we're going to go into that in a little bit. Hashtag PML, just so that I know that everything is coming through smooth, and so that way other people can start to plug in as well as the algorithm kicks in. So what I like to do is I like to ask these questions of our guest at the beginning of the interview, so that way it gives people who are just logging in an opportunity to catch up and to hear a little bit about him. All right, so what are some quotes that you personally live by?
You can do anything, but not everything. That's something that's a quote by David Allen. That's something that I've really started to learn and embrace over the past couple of years. Because I tried to do everything. And what do they say? I mean, to break that down a little bit, they say you can be a jack of all trades, but a master at nothing. When you're spreading yourself out too thin, you end up lowering the quality of what you're doing. So you need to focus on, I'm not saying one thing, because again, I stay busy, I get bored, and I want to do something else. But you really got to hunker down and focus. We've got options and responsibilities, but our time and resources are limited. So we've really got to stay focused and do something great, then move on to something else.
Awesome. Yeah. You know what? And the self-development that you've done in yourself, Brian, it shows. It shows 100%. Okay. Awesome. I think we're going to go through two more, and then we'll get right into the meat and potatoes. What is an unusual habit that you might have that, people wouldn't pay you for?
Unusual habit people wouldn't pay me for. That's a good one. Man, you got me on that one.
Yeah, it could be
like
a gym rat, whiskey connoisseur. Maybe you like cosmopolitans. I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say. Like I buy hats like women buy shoes.
Okay.
I've got over 160 hats. I mean, you guys can see a few behind me there. But I buy hats like women buy shoes, and majority of them have never been worn. Just like a woman, they just sit there in the closet. Um, so I waste a lot of money on hats.
Have you ever heard of the Clinker Room?
Clinker, no.
The Clinker Room. So these guys make they're all custom caps, but the designs that they come up with, it's called the Clinker Room. I don't get anything. I love hats too, and especially the baseball caps. Yeah, it's called the Clinker Room. They have some crazy collections of hats that they come out with.
Awesome. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Last one. So, what advice would you give for someone who is brand new and just coming into our profession? They're just getting started. They want to get into real estate investing. They want to, or maybe they want to become a private money lender. Maybe they'd like to be a gator lender or something. But what advice would you give to someone just joining our ranks inside the real estate industry?
Consistency and relationships. Consistency. Stay consistent. Again, stay focused. Pick something. Stay consistent and do it. Build those relationships. That again, over these past 2 years with my development, I've really learned this business, every aspect of this, especially in this business. It's life in general, honestly, but we're here talking about business. So in regards to this business, everything is based on a relationship. Whether it's just a relationship where you're building a relationship with a seller to solve their problem, or you're building a relationship with a private money lender, with a developer, it's based on relationships. So stay consistent, be true to yourself, but be genuine and build relationships.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us and sitting tight through these questions. Like I said, I like asking these questions. It gives us a peek into our guests so that you get a better understanding for who they are. If you're just logging in, Brian Madsen is an investor, a private money lender, and he has been coached by some of the best in our field, including Pace Morby, including Jamil Danji, and I think he just came back from another mastermind conference over the past weekend. Brian regularly attends these, and then I am lucky enough to grab a piece of his time, and then he shares some of that content with me, and he shares what he's been doing with me. And I have personally used Brian and his organization as a private money lender as well on a few of our transactions. So let's dive right into it. Private money lending, other people's money. What is it? How do you offer it? And if I'm brand new, let's say that I've got a deal. I found a deal. I got it. I think the numbers work. And then I approach you and I say, Brian, listen, I have this deal. I don't have the money for it. How can you help me purchase it so that we can make this work for everyone?
Okay, awesome. So, I mean, I want to start, I think, with like you said, what is it? What is private money? A lot of people, even lenders themselves, are confused truly about the difference between hard money and private money. True private money is someone that is lending their own money. You're not going to have upfront fees. 90% of the time, you're not going to have upfront fees. There's no credit. There's no credentials. It's all deal based. A true private money lender lends money based on a deal. Is it a good deal? Is there room? Is there room for me to get my money back? If for whatever reason you don't pay, is there room for me to get my money back and make money? Bottom line. Hard money lenders, you're going to have points and fees up front, all that you've got LTVs that they're looking at, 80% loan to value. You've got to have reserves in the bank, stuff like that. So a lot of people get confused. A true private money lender is strictly based on the deal itself. We're not running your credit, your credentials, nothing like that. Zero credit, zero credentials. It's deal based. I think a lot of people get confused there.
So how would you analyze the deal? Let's say I have a deal. I think I have an idea of what the current value is. I think I have an idea of what the after repaired value is. And then I come to you with the deal. And what pieces do I need in order to present it to you to make it attractive to a private money lender? And how much can you lend on it if I want to do the purchase?
Awesome. Okay, so it when you're bringing a deal to a private money lender, it's going to be just like you're bringing a wholesale deal. And if you don't know that, you're going to bring obviously a property address, the purchase price, the ARV, your comps. The more information you have, the more likely I am to lend you the money. Bottom line, if I don't have to go search for it, if you have it all right there in front of me, the less likely I am to find bad stuff that I'm going to say, hey, thanks, but no thanks. So you're going to bring the deal, you're going to package the deal with the ARVs, the comps. I'm going to want to know your exit strategy. How do you plan to pay me back? Is this a long-term rental? Is this a short-term rental? Is this a midterm rental? Is it a flip? Are you hoteling it? Whatever the case may be, I'm going to want to know your exit strategy because I have to make sure it makes sense on how if you tell me you're going to pay me back in 90 days, but you're doing a midterm rental, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
So I want to know how you're going to pay me back and make sure it makes sense that, again, the numbers are there for you to be able to pay me back.
And typically with private money lenders, what is the term period? Like, and I don't want to use just real estate language because for someone who isn't in real estate and they're looking at this, they can get lost. So I was going to say, what is the balloon period? But basically, when do you typically, on average, what types of terms do you like to be able to get it paid back? What makes it more attractive?
Me personally, my deals, majority of my deals are 90 to 120 days. Majority of my deals. And guys, but by all means, bring me your deals. I like higher risk deals. That's my niche. A lot of people don't, but I like it. And it's just like Vegas, higher risk, higher reward. Everybody wins. But it really depends on your lender. Again, the good thing about a private money lender is we're the bank. We make the rules. There's nobody telling me it has to fit this guideline, this guideline, this guideline. So going back to it, like you said, the more information you can give me on the deal, sell me. Tell me why this deal is going to work. It's not a set guideline like a bank where it has to be at a certain LTV. The comp has to be exactly this. The term has to be exactly this. I'm the bank, so I make the rules. So tell me why I like your deal.
What percentage of it are you able to fund, or other private money lenders?
Private money lenders fund up to 120, 130%. That's a big difference, like I said, between a hard money and a private money lender. We'll fund the whole deal. We'll fund the purchase. We'll fund the rehab. We'll fund the holding cost. If it's a good deal, we're gonna fund it.
Got it. Okay.
So it's really, again, that's I get a lot of people asking me that. It's a great question because that's the number one question that I get. Well, what's your terms? My terms depend on the deal. Bottom line, because my terms could be something for one deal and then something completely different for another deal. So that's again back to it. The more information you bring me on the deal, the easier it is to set some terms and make the deal a win for both of us.
Got it. Okay. All right. So if it's a 90 to 120 days, it typically sounds like it's going to be some type of a wholesale transaction. But I know you do fix and flips too. Mm-hmm. And so like on a fix and flip, if someone comes to you with a fix and flip opportunity, are there percentages? So is there an interest rate? Is it a flat rate? What should people expect to pay? Or is this something where we can get creative? And I know the answer to this question, but I'm asking because I want the audience to hear it. Is there a way to get creative on the exit strategy so that we talk about like the disbursements of profits? Or I'll let you take it from there.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is no set. Again, like Paul said, he knows the answer because we've gotten creative on deals together to make them work for both of us. So there is no set, again, rules. There's no set interest rates. It goes back to getting creative. Like you said, I come from a creative background taught by Pace Morby, and Jamil Damji teaches the same thing, to get into real estate with zero money out of pocket in wholesaling. Don't spend your money. You don't have to put a bunch of money up front. Through building relationships with different people in different areas in the business, you're able to collaborate and, again, make deals that work for everybody where you're not having to bring money out of pocket. Paul, again, we're doing deals where, again, it's just a win for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'll go into the one that we just had. And this one, unfortunately, didn't really go anywhere. Okay, but I'll explain to you how it was structured and some of the terms that we were looking at. So we had a short sale transaction. Now, in this case, I did have hard money lenders already in place for about 85% of the purchase and the repairs. Brian and his team were going to come in with about 15% of it. And what I did was I got the deal. I gave him the comps. I gave him the repairs, the after repaired value. I gave him the current market value. I showed him the number. It's really about the presentation, right?
Yep.
And so I present it to him. He reviews it. He says it's a deal that we can do. Unfortunately, at the end, it didn't necessarily work out. But again, the better you package your presentation to them, the easier it is for them to make some type of a decision. What's the turnaround, Brian, you think on like decision making of a deal?
We're normally pretty quick. Again, it comes back to the package that's presented.
Right.
I mean, you know exactly. You present full packages, you present comps, photos, everything, exit strategies. So it's a pretty simple. Hey, literally with Paul, I mean, we can underwrite a deal in a couple hours and tell them, hey, yeah, no problem. We get you 60 grand. No problem.
Right.
Again, it goes back to what you present, because if I have to go find a bunch of information, when I'm looking for information, guys, I guess this is a good tip to give you. When I'm looking for, when I have to go look for information on a deal, I'm looking for information. I always look down before I look up. So I'm looking for bad information. I'm looking for a reason to tell you no,
Right.
as opposed to tell you yes. So back to that, give me a full package, give me all the comps, show me why it's a good deal. I don't have to go look for it. I don't have to go find those reasons to tell you no. If I see something good in front of me, I don't have to go look anywhere. Hey, this looks like a good deal. I'm going to call you back. Hey, Mr. Wholesaler, let's do it. I have the money wired tomorrow.
And he will. He will. Okay. So what is what's your bread and butter deal? Like, what is, look, there's different price points throughout the entire country. You know, I mean, out here in Cali, it's ridiculous. We can go into the multi-millions. So, I mean, like, typically, what is your threshold where you say, like, this is kind of where the deals I like to be in. This is our price point where I really like to work.
Absolutely. So our bread and butter, like I said, our niche is the higher risk deals, where we're coming in for the younger investor, the new investor that needs that money to cover their 15% down payment, stuff like that, or they miscalculated on a rehab and they've got to finish it now and they don't have the 20 grand to finish it. So we like, my bread and butter deals are anywhere from 20 to 75,000. That's what I fund right out of my bank account in-house. I take a look at it. If I like it, let's do it.
And typically, you guys are in the second position.
Majority of I like higher risk deals, so I'm in second. I'm sometimes in third position.
Wow.
Like I said, guys, don't let anybody tell you that that's not a deal. There's no people out there that'll lend you. It's not true. It's different people are different on their risk adversity. There's people who like low risk, low reward. They're good with 8%. You know what I mean? And they want no risk. There's moderate risk.
I think the message too here is, though, the sweeter the deal, the more likely you'll be able to lend more money on it, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really just about how good the deal is. And so that means that we, as real estate investors, all of us have to get better at negotiating a little bit stronger. We have to negotiate a better price. And the better price that you negotiate, the more likely that you'll be able to get more financing for the transaction.
100%.
Right?
But to circle back a little bit on that, I want to elaborate, guys, that one man's trash is another man's treasure. Just because 3 people told you no, I mean, this business, we get told no 99% of the time, but you're one no away from that next yes. So just because 3 guys told you that absolutely that's not a deal. I've sold many of deals in my wholesale career that guys tell me, that's trash deal, Brian. Why are you even sending this to me? And the next guy's like salivating over the deal.
Yeah.
So don't get discouraged. If you're confident, you've vetted the deal, don't get discouraged because they're saying it's trash, because it's not. If you make sense, again, present it to me. Show me why it's not trash, and let's do it.
Cool. All right, let's go into this this deal that you just got, the one in Daytona. How did you get it? Like what?
Awesome.
Now this is you, Brian, the investor, right?
Correct.
And then
so I do run a wholesale operation as well. We run a wholesale operation through agent outreach. And this deal actually came back to us. So we made an offer on this deal probably 90 days ago. We made an offer on this deal. Cash offer. It was a non-market deal, 30 plus days. We made a cash offer. They told us thanks, but no thanks. We are not giving our house away. And that was the end of it.
Agent outreach. The agent brought the deal to you, or you went directly to the seller?
They brought it to us. We made an offer based on comping the deal where we're at. Like I said, they laughed at us, told us we're not giving the house away. said, no problem. Okay. So 90 days or so came around. This house has been on the market now 120 days. And they came back, hey, can you guys come up a little bit on this offer? And we're like, no, like our cash offer is our cash offer. That's it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the market's not getting better right now. We're getting into the holidays. Prices aren't going up. Stuff is sitting. So we're going to push even harder. If anything, we're going to come in less. But every cash offer I get, guys, what's that?
Especially if they're coming back to you.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but every cash offer I get, when I get rejected, I don't just say, okay, thanks, have a nice day. Well, I do say that, hey, thanks, have a nice day. But I say, hey, thanks, by the way, if I could maybe get you an offer at or around the asking price, would you entertain creative finance? Every single offer I send out that I get a no on. So they came back and said, well, what is that? What do you mean? Well, this loan's not assumable. A lot of people get, especially agents, they get stuck. They think you're trying to assume a loan. Subject to or seller finance is not assuming a loan, as you know, Paul. But a lot of people and a lot of agents don't know the difference. So I explained it to them. Hey, look, in very general terms, I said, hey, look, if you guys are willing to let us take over that loan that you currently have, or if it's paid off, then we offer seller finance. So we say, hey, if you guys are willing to carry the note, we normally and we give this as a generalization, obviously, to price anchor low. So we say, hey, normally in that area, we're buying houses at 3 to 5% down with seller finance at no more than 5%, depending on where the deal's at. So we price anchor them there. And they came back. This one, we actually only countered once. They came back. They said, hey, look, if you're willing to give us full asking price, we'll give you 5-year, 30-year fixed with 10% down. I said, deal. Let's do it. So
5-year. Okay, so for someone who doesn't understand,
not 5 years, sorry, 30-year fixed at 5%.
30-year fixed at 5%. And how much was on the loan?
$430,000.
And that was they owned it free and clear, or that was the.
Yeah, no, this was seller finance. They owned it free and clear.
Oh, they owned it free and clear.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So
they owned it free and clear. They gave you 5% in 30 years.
30 years, no balloon. That's where a lot of people go wrong. They give the balloon away. You never bring up a balloon unless they insist on it.
Okay, so for people that don't understand what that means, they don't understand what a balloon means, and I see the comments, balloons are for clowns and blah blah blah. But just explain what a balloon is to someone that doesn't know what.
So balloon payment, yeah. So an average mortgage, for the most part, is 30 years. It's amortized over 30 years. So with a balloon payment, basically, if this had a balloon, we say, hey, okay, they're going to carry the loan at 5%. It's going to be amortized over 30 years. But in 10 years, I want a lump sum to pay it off. I'm only going to carry the loan for 10 years. So a balloon, you have a balloon payment. You have to pay it off at a certain period, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 7 years, whatever that case may be. It's not going to go the full 30 years. You have to make a large payment, refinance out of that to get them their money by the end of that. Let's just say it was 10 years, then you need to pay them off in 10 years, one way or another.
Right. So in this case, Brian was able to get a seller to give him a 5% interest rate on a 400 and some change loan, amortized over 30 years. So he doesn't have to pay this off until 30 years. He doesn't have to refinance it or sell it. He can just make them the monthly payments for the next 30 years.
They're my bank for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
At 5% with zero money out of pocket. And I know you guys are probably, wait, zero money out of pocket. I put 10% down. But guess what? Even though I'm a lender, I didn't use my own money. I borrowed somebody else's money. So zero money out of pocket, zero credentials, zero credit. I bought a $430,000 house on the beach. And the best part, it's an Airbnb. I had it booking out 2 days before I closed already.
That's
so
awesome.
It's going to cash flow me anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000, depending on the season.
Now I got a place for me and my family, huh? When we go out, the Daytona Beach,
Yep.
spring break.
Absolutely.
50-year-old guy celebrating spring break still. Anyway.
Right.
Okay, that's a great story, man. Okay, so initially with agent outreach, let's talk a little bit about what that is, because again, people they hear it, but they're not understanding what agent outreach is. So why don't you talk about what agent outreach is?
Absolutely.
And how you do your agent outreach? And I know, come on, Jamil preaches this all the time.
Yep. So yeah, exactly. That's where, last year when everything took a turn on interest rates and whatnot, prices and whatnot. I was doing direct to seller at that point. And I said, hey, you know what? This is tightened up quite a bit. I've got to pivot here in my business. Business is slows down. What do I do here? So even though I was working with Jamil on a mentor, I wasn't doing agent outreach. I didn't like it. Bottom line. But what agent outreach is basically you're reaching out to your local agents in your market and building relationships with them. You're saying to letting them know, hey, I'm an investor in the local area. This is what I'm looking for. If you come across anything that fits that, please send it to me. You can offer them to represent you in the deals. So instead of them making 3% as a listing agent, you're guaranteeing them that 6%. Obviously, you can pay them on the back end on your assignment fees at will. You're building a relationship with agents in your community to bring you deals, bottom line, or in your network, sorry.
So, okay, who are you? What agents are you targeting? And what is that conversation like when you're calling them? Because look, let's be real. I'm also a licensed broker and I'm also a licensed agent, and I know that a lot of agents can come off as they're very pompous, right? And so they don't want if it isn't I'm a client, I'm a seller, I'm a buyer, or I'm ready to list, or I'm ready to make an offer. A lot of times they don't want to have they don't want to have those conversations.
Yep.
And a lot of times they're not even picking up the phones. So what's your strategy for actually making contact with them? And are there specific agents that you're targeting during your agent outreach?
I think that kind of depends where you're at in your career. Just getting started, I'm going to talk to everybody I can. When I first started agent outreach, I put a list in Houston. It was a little over 8,000 agents, licensed agents in Houston. And started calling them. And I also did text message. Text message. It is okay actually to text message agents because they publicize their phone numbers to do business with you. So it's not illegal. So I was text messaging agents through a CRM called Astroblaster, and it's actually built out for you. And it's geared towards agent outreach. It has workflows and whatnot that are going to follow up with them. Hey, do you have any deals? Are you going to, obviously that's throughout time, but you introduce yourself. But now in my career, where I'm at with me, I'm not just cold calling agents. I'm building relationships with agents now by trying to do business with them, making an offer. I'm not going to talk to you until I have an opportunity here. I want to buy your property. Now we can start the conversation with my offer and build the relationship from there. But like I said, Jamil preaches it. As you said, people get in this business overnight making money by agent outreach. And it's just doing the numbers. It's staying consistent, reaching out. Because like you said, a lot of agents, they're very pompous. They do not want to talk to you. They're going to tell you to screw off, F off. I don't want to talk to you. Come talk to me when I have investors already. All kinds of nonsense. But it's just saying, again, consistent in those numbers. So when they do have that deal, when they do go to that listing appointment, they're like, man, I can't sell this on the market. Oh, hey, Brian called me. He said he buys ugly houses. Let me call him and give him a shot. You want to remember your name. So you got to stay at the forefront when that deal does come across.
Right. Yeah, and look, nobody bats 100, man. Not every investor is going to buy. There's going to be agents that are going to say, I have my go-to investor, right? And that investor isn't going to scoop up every deal. They're just not. Most of them don't have the financial capacity or the bandwidth to get everything that's presented to them. And so if you
not only that, again, it goes back to one man's trash is another man's treasure. That may not fit Paul's, but I want to. Okay, well, hey, when Paul doesn't want to buy that deal, send it to me. I completely understand you have a relationship with Paul, Mr. Realtor, and I respect that. But when Paul doesn't want it, give me a shot at it. And that's it.
Right.
When you follow up with him.
That's how you end the conversation. As opposed to, I lost another one, and then you just hang up and you end it, and you didn't. There was no value with what you just did.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
It goes that way. Brilliant. Okay. All right. So I just saw that reel did. Now you've been doing a lot more on social media. And I'm really happy for you, man. I see you doing it, and I see
Thank you, sir.
So you talked in particular about one deal that went south on you for a little bit, where you were the private money lender.
Yep.
So what should the investor, not the investors, but what should wholesalers, I guess the investors, right? What should people who are investing in real estate not do, aside from the obvious, which is ghosting you? But aside from that, like, what are some of the pitfalls or the mistakes that they make once you guys have helped them, with the financing?
So that particular deal, these guys they were just flat out lying about. So investors buy properties, okay, and exit strategies change. I completely understand that, 100%. Long story short, these guys, they borrowed $75K on a single family house in Cleveland, Ohio. Supposed to be rehabbing it. It was 90-day turnaround. They're supposed to have it done and on the market. They communication guys with your private money lender is key. Communication, keep them informed. So this guy, again, when we got on a Zoom and they wanted to borrow money, he told us, hey, I'm going to give you guys a weekly update. I'm going to give you guys photos of the progress of the work. Okay, great. No problem. Let's do it. Awesome. That's what I want to hear. I want to see that you're doing with my money what you said you're going to do, and it's progressing. That's all. And we understand stuff happens. Stuff changes. So this guys, they changed their strategies. They had other properties as well. They ended up taking our money, bottom line, and putting it into another property, but telling us work was being done. So when I would get updates with this guy, I sniffed it out. It was BS, bottom line. But he just continued.
You flew over there, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I sniffed it out, bottom line. I flew over there to Cleveland, walked up. Obviously, the property hadn't been touched. I jumped on the porch and I FaceTimed the guy and said, hey, what's going on? Obviously, you've been telling me all this work's going on. Where's your crew? Yada, yada, yada. Bottom line, the gig was up. He said, hey, Brian, we took the money and put it into another property, which I'm okay with. Again, in real estate, it happens. And again, I take on more risky deals, so I'm a little more understanding. I understand. But you've got to communicate. Don't lie. Do not lie. Not just not ghost, but don't lie. Hey, shit happens. Hey, we're in a tight crunch on this other property. We got to finish it up. I'm going to take the money, put it there, and then I'm going to come back right here. I'm not going to like it. I'm going to tell you what the hell, but I already lent you the money. I can't do anything about it. But I'm going to respect you telling me the truth and letting me know what's going on instead of telling me, oh, yeah, the work's being done. It's going great. The work's being done. It's going great. You can only keep it. It's like your parents telling the kid, you can only keep up with the lie for so long.
Right.
And again, it went on for 6-7 weeks, I want to say, the first 6-7 weeks of the project. And I sniffed it out. So like I said, I flew over there and I showed up and said, hey, bullshit. Sorry, excuse my language, but what's going on? Long story short, they ended up paying us out. We actually had a lot more money in that deal because they paid per diem because they were almost 4 months late. But to answer his question, just communicate and be honest. We understand stuff happens in this business. Stuff changes. Right now, we understand it's the slow season. So if I lend to you right now, and I'm going to tell you, are you sure you're going to move that in 90 days? Probably not. But if you tell me no, okay, I'm expecting you to call me at 90 days and say, hey, it's not sold. But communication is key, and keep your lender informed on what's truly going on. We understand the business. We know stuff changes. So be honest. That's the biggest key. I mean, and you can take that not just with your lenders, just in business in general. Be genuine, be honest. You'll get a lot farther.
Got it. Okay. So and Brian will do that. I mean, even on the deal that we just had, we've had a few successful ones, but the last one didn't go anywhere. Anyway, even that particular deal, after he ran his numbers, Brian was ready to catch a flight to come out and take a look at the property like the next day. So, and I know you're originally from LA anyway, right? California?
Yes, sir. Yep, Norwalk to be exact.
Now you're in
Houston,
Texas.
Houston, cool. Texas. Yes, sir.
You're a Ranger fan?
I'm a Corey Seager fan.
Yeah, good for him, man.
I bleed blue. I might be in Houston, but I still bleed blue, baby.
I know you do. Yeah, but I was happy for him. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. So Brian is the type of private money lender that when the deal is proposed to him, and if it's depending on those numbers, we had what we thought was a really good one. He was ready to fly out and come take a look at it and make sure that the numbers were what they were. I don't know. Maybe you thought that was too good.
No, not that it was too good. Exactly, just to make sure. Exactly. I mean, sometimes on a deal on that specific deal, because I had a lot of funds out, I was bringing in another partner, which he wanted me to walk the deal. He's not as comfortable, so it made him feel comfortable for me to walk the deal myself. So that's what I was gonna do.
And that's another thing too. Look, sometimes these opportunities don't necessarily go anywhere, right? So when you have to say that, let's talk about that, right? When you have to say no to a deal, right? What are some of the reasons that you will say no?
I will say now, bottom line, if the numbers just don't make sense, I know that's a very general answer, but there's got to be, the deal's got to be a win for everybody. And especially even with me taking on higher risk deals, there's still some things that just, they don't add up, they don't make sense. And bottom line, I'm going to say no. Like I said, right now, if you tell me, hey, Brian, I need 40 grand because I'm going to rehab this house in 90 days and sell it. I mean, I don't care where you're at right now. It's November 7th. You're not rehabbing a house and selling it in 90 days right now, bottom line. So it's tough to give a specific hard no, because I'm a pretty risky guy. That I don't have any drop dead no's. I try and make sense of the deal. You know what I mean? If I can make it a win for everybody, let's make it a win. So that's a tough question for me to answer. You probably want to ask a more risk adverse lender that question.
Well, I think it goes back to what we said earlier. The better that the investor or the wholesaler, the better that they present their numbers, the easier it is to say yes. But if you're not good at comping, if you're not good at analyzing a deal, if you're not good at estimating repairs. So how often does that happen where you've got someone that brings you a deal and then they really miss the mark? I know you do as much due diligence as you do, but like they completely miss the target when it comes to like, here's how much it's going to cost to get fixed.
I'll tell you, I do a lot of lending because of that. I do a lot of lending because of that. Guys come back and they say, hey, I need another 20K for 60 days because I got to finish this project because they missed their mark. Very, very. I do a ton of $20,000 to $30,000 loans because guys miss their mark.
Yeah, it's what I tell everybody all the time: underestimate the ARV, overestimate the repairs, all the time.
Yep.
And people still don't do it.
No, absolutely. ARV is you gotta hone. That's the one skill that I would say in this business. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what your strategy is. It is comping.
Yeah.
Comping is the one thing that you have to be on point in this business to be successful.
Awesome. Well, guys, it's we're at the 9:50 mark. I took Brian's time today. He was gracious enough. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to check the comments real quick just to see if anyone has any questions that they might have for Brian right now. So if you see me looking away from the screen, actually, if you saw me looking away at any moment, it was just because I was checking out the comments. Yes, Jesus can. What did he say? Consistency is the key. Yep. Oh, communication is the key. That is absolutely correct. So do you ever do 100? I know you said 100 to 120% financing, right? But let's say it's somebody here in some of the markets where the price points are a little bit higher, right? So California, Florida, obviously in Miami, those properties are a little bit more. They're a little bit higher. We're talking $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 properties.
Yep.
Do you guys do any types of loans that big?
So I don't fund them in-house. I do have partners. And that's why we talked a little bit earlier. I was actually at a mastermind this past weekend. I'm actually learning myself to raise more capital at this point to be able to say yes more to those larger deals.
Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I think that's important too. I mean, even at this stage in Brian's career, and he's been doing a lot of private money lending. Sometimes, we go back and we're learning more, we're educating more. So you're a part of a few different masterminds, and you've attended a few different masterminds. I mean, you're investing money in yourself. What has that done for you in your career?
It's wow. I mean, I could go on and on. It's amazing, guys. You need to always be open to learning. One, just to better yourself in life. Personally, I've over the past couple of years. I mean, I'm learning still. I've the past couple of years, I've been learning and focusing, and it's a daily struggle to walk this world in a godly way as opposed to a worldly way. It's tough every day, but I've been constantly working on myself and struggling to do that. But since I've done that over the past couple of years, it's been mind blown on the changes that have happened in my life personally. My business, my relationship with my children has gotten 100 times better, 100 times. And it still is. Like I said, it's by no means perfect. I'm by no means perfect. Like I said, it's a struggle every day, but it's a conscious decision to do that and to walk in faith instead of sight.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, man, I'm a fan. I'm proud of you. I've been on the sidelines watching it, watching the personal development, watching the personal growth, seeing it happen in real time.
Yes, sir.
And it's been a pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's a pleasure to grow. Like I said, guys, invest in yourself. I know it's hard to write that check sometimes, or put it on that credit card, whatever you got to do. But I promise, if you do it and really spend the time to be there and take in what's being given to you, it'll pay for itself 100 times over. 100%.
Cool. All right. So just to recap, everybody, if you are in need of any private money loans, I think Brian said it, bread and butter loans, or $50,000 to $80,000 loans. Those are in seconds. Those are thirds. So for people that have hard money financing in place already, Brian is an excellent option for the 15% that you would need. Typically, you can get about 85% from hard money if you have a track record. If you don't, you might be as low as 70 to 75% with the hard money. Brian, you could depending on the deal, you still may be able to come up with the other extra 25 to 30. Yeah.
Absolutely, guys. I mean, and for those of you that are just getting started, $5,000 for EMD if you need. We can work that into your deal. You know what I mean? All the way up. Another thing that we actually just brought on, actually, we're able to do transactional lending now for wholesalers. That, let's say you're making a bigger fee and you don't want your buyer to see what type of fee you're making. We're doing transactional funding now up to $5 million.
That's crazy.
So
all right, so people may not understand what that means. So explain what the transactional funding means and the double close.
Transactional funding, double closing. So it's in this business, we're doing mostly double closings. So you as a wholesaler, you get a contract under contract, and then you sell it to your wholesaler. As opposed to assigning that contract where your buyer is going to see your assignment fee, you can do what's called double close. So you're actually going to close on the property on the A to B transaction and become the owner of the property. And then you're going to resell it to your buyer on a purchase contract as opposed to an assignment. Well, there has to be an actual transaction. So you have to have that money. It's a $600,000, let's just say. $600,000 has to go to escrow so they can close that transaction out before you sell it to your end buyer, excuse me. On that note, it actually already is illegal in a couple of states to wholesale. It's becoming more regulated. So I think you're going to see that over the next couple of years. Transactional funding is probably going to become the norm in the business because it's starting to become a lot more regulated.
Absolutely. So you close on it. You close on the transaction at 600. And then and the transactional funding is only good for how many days?
It depends on the deal. On a single family, it normally is done the same day. Commercial deals, it does sometimes take up to a week, 2 weeks maybe. on the bigger deals, but on a single family, it's normally the same day it's done, if not the next day.
Yeah, typically, well, it depends on, like, for instance, in our county, we can't do same day closings. So it would be in LA County, at least, you'd close a transaction, next day you close. So if you
Yep.
close it, 600,000, then you can, sell it to your end buyer the next day for $650,000. So typically, what do the fees look like for transactional
Fees on
funding?
transactional funding is just, it's 1%.
So it's 1%,
1%
whatever
of
it
the
is.
purchase price. Yep.
So on the 600,000, then you're looking at a $6,000
Mhm.
transactional funding fee. Then if you're able to sell the property the next day for 650,000, obviously you're going to be considering that as one of your business expenses. So now you're down to about $46,000.
Correct.
Just as an example.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So how do people find you? How do they get a hold of you? If they're interested, if they need help, if they want, they would love to team up with you.
Absolutely, guys. You can get me on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. It's invest with BM, and you can shoot me a text directly. That'll come straight to me. My cell phone number 562-523-5433. You can find me on Facebook, Brian Madsen. Let's connect. Let's figure it out. I'd love to help. Even if you guys are not looking to borrow, you just have questions. I love to help. Getting started in this business is tough, especially the way I look. So I get it. And it makes me feel good to help people. Bottom line, I want to say yes. I want to figure it out and get you going. Reach out.
Awesome, guy. Okay. 9:57, everybody. We usually don't go for more than an hour. I appreciate you participating, Brian. Thank you for doing this for me and for the people that are looking at this. I'll get you a copy of this stream so that you have it for yourself. Everybody, reach out to Brian. He's an excellent option. They're asking for your number one more time, Brian.
No problem. It's 562-523-5433.
All right, you guys. Have a great day. Let's get to work.
Thank you, Paul.
Bye.